This is WOMM LP operating out of Burlington, Vermont, 105.9 The Radiator. It is the Rocket Shop once again. Hello, I'm your host, Tom Proctor. With me tonight is Jabedon. Hello.
Hello.
Well, pleasure to have you in the studio this evening.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to hear you. I've been listening to... I only heard one track so far, but if that is an indication of what's to come, I'm very excited to listen.
It's the first and only single release so far.
Yeah. Well, I'll love to get into that in a minute, but we love starting with a song, so what have you got for us?
I'm actually going to be playing Gemstones, but stripped down, because it's just me right now.
All right.
But one day, big band.
Gemstones being the single that you just recently put out.
It's all in place, right here for you. There is a light that follows you, and a gemstone too. And I know it's hard, I know it's hard, I know it's hard, I know it's hard, I feel it. But we need it. Yeah, I know it's hard, I know it's hard, I know it's hard. But we've come this far, so take my hand and lead me on with you. Yeah, with you. My gemstone. My gemstone. My gemstone.
Jabedon there with the newly released single, or kind of newly released single, Gemstones. So yeah, tell me a little bit about this track. So this came out July, I believe.
Yeah, July 9th.
Yeah, it's got a beautiful music video to accompany with it.
Thank
and,
you.
I believe Oakledge Park would be my guess.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
you filmed it.
Mhm.
But it's a gorgeous music video. So tell me a little bit about this song in particular. Why is this the first record you're putting out? Because as far as I know, this is the only thing that's kind of out in the public. With
Yeah,
your name
out
on
of
it.
everything, well, I never thought of it until right now, but it was actually the first song I recorded for the album. I've been working for a couple years on my debut record, and I remember when I first started and kind of made the move to actually do it, it was just a sonic experiment. I wanted to experiment with side chaining, and I took an old vintage Ace-Tone Top 5 organ, and I just wanted to see what it would sound like side chained, because some of my favorite electronic artists use a lot of that kind of pulsating, where like you'll have a signal and then you'll have a drum beat, and the drum beat compresses with the signal and it kind of makes these like swells. And so the song just started out as these swells of my favorite chord progression.
Just to be clear, that's what side chaining is for the uneducated among us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really understand it exactly, but it's almost like you have a sheet, and if you put like I always say, it's like Einstein's theory of relativity. Like you
Just
have
to
a
make it
sheet,
slightly
which is
more
the fabric
complicated.
of reality, and then you put like a bowling ball in the middle, and that kind of creates like gravity, like
Yeah.
a dip. So it kind of like the beat creates a dip in the signal. And so if you just have like a do, and then you have a boom, boom, it'll go boo, boo, boo. And it kind of started with like French techno, I think. Dee, dee, dee.
Yeah.
But I always thought it was very like organic and very relaxing to do it really slow. So the song just started out as it was just going to be this grand instrumental introduction to the album, about a minute long, and then it kind of grew, and it just seemed like a nice, easy introduction to show people what I was doing.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful track, and I would urge any listeners to find Jabedon on YouTube and check out that video, because it's also a really gorgeous video that you created. Tell us a little bit about the production of that video.
Well, one of my best friends, I still botch his name all the time, Ian Thomas Jensen Longquist. I think I nailed it enough. And he's one of my best friends, and he's an incredible photographer and videographer, and we just wanted to do this thing together. And I had this, I actually know where it came from. The original album cover, when I first wanted to record my debut album, which was like 10 years ago, was this picture this person had taken, had put up this chandelier in a forest, and it must have been hanging from 100 feet high. And it was the most beautiful image I'd ever seen. And that's sort of a lot of what I envision when I think about my music, is like kind of sci-fi, but like natural forest, but then like lights and like electronic, kind of stuff. And I always wanted that to be the album cover. And so when I contacted the website that was selling it, it was going to be about $600 for the rights to it. And I was like, I can't do that at all. So me and Ian decided to make our own album cover shot, and that turned into the video all in one, which was more than $600, but it was worth it, and it was really fun.
Well, you did get a beautiful video out of it as well, so I mean, I'd say probably worth it in the end.
I think so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about Gemstones itself as a record. As you said, it was originally going to be this instrumental, and then clearly you put some lyrics on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
What are you trying to convey with this track?
Man, it's sort of like when you have sort of like a touchstone or like an amulet or something that makes you feel most like yourself, kind of centered, kind of something magical. I don't know, like, I guess that's what it's about.
Yeah, and
Giving you strength.
yeah, it does have this kind of strong energy within it, even though it's quite a low key, ambient almost track. You can have it in the background, but it does have that kind of core of strength through the whole thing. So I quite like that imagery of having this kind of latent talisman on you.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah. So as you said, this album that you've been creating for the last 2 years, brainchild of yours 10 years ago, and I did read that you've been, you've been kind of playing and creating music for 10 years, and this is your debutante ball. You're just bringing something else out. So tell me a little bit about that whole journey, that arc of you starting to create music 10 years ago, and then to this point where, 3-4 months ago, you put out that first single.
Man, I guess I'll try to condense it, around 10 years ago, I guess in college I learned guitar and got a looping pedal, and loops kind of just got pretty intricate, and I was like, oh, I should probably make loops on GarageBand, and I just started making these little bedroom recordings, often on my friends' laptops, and sometimes they'd be once every few months. Oftentimes they were sort of anecdotal, almost like prescriptions of how I wanted to be feeling, maybe when I was feeling pretty down. So it wasn't so much as like I would be feeling a certain way and express it. It was like I'd wake up one day and be like, wait, I need to be inspired, and I want to make something that will inspire me, kind of a thing. And I'm kind of slow with a lot of things in my life. And I just slowly learned from friends and worked with different people and kind of gained this vision of what I wanted to do, and slowly learned how to do it all by myself, which has been really hard, but also really gratifying, and I'm really close.
Yeah, so over that period of 10 years and building up those skills, and now you've got to a point where you're confident in your skills and the music that you've created, and your ability to kind of put it out there. Now is the time to release that record.
Yeah, it's feeling good.
Yeah, well, congratulations,
Thank
man.
you.
That first album for so many people is so difficult, and I can really imagine that being 10 years in the making is huge, but you kind of really got started on it 2 years ago, you said.
Yeah,
So,
that was kind of like I'm starting to actually record it.
right. Do you know what the impetus was? Was the morning you woke up and went, today is the day I start on this record?
Yeah, I was actually I was working at a restaurant that had to shut down all of a sudden really quickly, and some people were talking about taking a break, going on vacation, and the first day I was like, this is, if I can't do it now, I'll never do it, because even though I had the drive to do it for so long, I just never could find the time or the energy, just who I am. So when I had that free time just open up in front of me, I just, that day I went and plugged in the Ace Tone and sidechained it.
Yeah, and well, I guess the rest is history.
Yeah.
And so that couldn't have been COVID related then?
No, that
because-
was that was about a year before.
Yeah. So did COVID speed things along? Did it slow you down? Was it? I've heard from a lot of artists that kind of got like mental block almost at that period of time because of just everything that was going on. But now I've spoken to other people who it really spurred them on having all this free time. So how was it for you?
COVID was like, again, I'm not trying to say that these things that turned out to be sort of fortuitous for my situation were good or anything, like the restaurant closing down or COVID happening, but that was sort of the second catalyst. It was like these two humps of like time off at first, and then boom, I got time off again, and I wanted to really take advantage of it and not take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Not that if people didn't take advantage of it, they were doing anything wrong. And what does that even mean? But
Of course not, and I would say it's primarily artists that had been touring a lot or had been really, really busy that kind of had that mental block or just felt time to take off. And then there's been a lot of people who maybe hadn't got the first record out or hadn't started really kind of putting their music out there, that really took it as a moment to use to kind of develop their skills. So that kind of tracks with other people I've talked to.
Yeah, big time.
Well, we'd love to hear another song. So what have you got for us?
This one is called The Opening, and when I was trying to get songs together for this performance, a lot of the songs on the album have, dozens of synthesizers and guitars and sometimes 20 of me in the background doing harmonies, and this is very big production, and I didn't know how to do all of them by myself yet. So Gemstones, I'm actually really happy with this kind of newer version. It's feeling this good energy. And I'm also going to be doing Open the Door eventually on the Prophet synthesizer. But this one is a brand new song I've written, and I don't know when it's going to come out or if it's going to come out, but it wants to be played, and it's feeling very fresh. So this is called The Opening. Yeah.
There's an opening under light in the clearing. Bring an offering, a simple word, it's a feeling. There's a widening, the colors fanning out, they're spreading. It's like a spiraling, a supernatural unfolding. I'm on the edge of the event horizon. I can feel her pushing, pulling me. It helps me find it my way. You know I need her when I find my way. There's a half of one staring right at me. She's hiding like a vision up above that's there to keep reminding our ways. You know we need her just to find our way. There's an opening under light in the clearing. Bring an offering, a simple word, it's a feeling. There's a widening, the colors fanning out, they're spreading. Like a spiraling, a supernatural unfolding. I'm on the edge, I can feel her push and pull my way. You know I need her when I find my way. There's a half of one staring right at me. She's hiding like a vision up above that's there to keep reminding our ways. You know we need her just to find our way. Could you even know just what you are? Could you even know just where you've been?
Jabedon there with the opening. So you said just before you played that song that it was maybe not something for the next album, but it was something that needed to be out and played.
Hmm.
I did notice on your Instagram earlier on there was another track that you had. That you're like, I woke up this morning and I needed to get this out.
Oh yeah, I thought about playing that. I
Yeah, well,
forgot.
it was a good song. And so I was curious: is that how you write your tracks? Are you inspired in a moment and you have to get onto a synth, or you have to get onto your guitar and get it out, or do you generally methodically create a song? And in fact, these are kind of anomalies.
I think mostly it's these quick inspirations, and there's kind of something flowing through, and you want to catch it. And those tend to be the ones that are most exciting. But there's also a part of me that takes 10 years to write songs, and a couple of the songs on Gemstones are from 10 years ago, and they were these magical little demos that I tried recreating with higher fidelity, which I really don't recommend to anybody. It is trying to recapture something is really hard. I'm glad I did it, but moving forward, I'd like it to be a little more quick, a little more organic. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, trying to recreate a certain moment from many years ago when you're a different person, experiencing different things, and trying to put yourself back in that place is a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah. You've also got this fantastic studio space, Pastel Sounds, and I, again, stalking your Instagram and
Please.
got to see a few great pictures of the place. Is this inside your house? Do you have your own space for it? How did this whole thing get created in the first place?
I've been using that space to store all my keyboards and to play music. It's got to be at least 10 years, if not 12. And there's been different iterations of different friends that have been a part of it. There's always been 2 other studio mates. And right now, Bob Wagner is one of the other consistent ones. And he, oh yeah, and the space is right down the street next to Speaking Volumes. And it's not the most ideal recording studio. It's kind of loud. We can't make a lot of noise until 5 p.m. There's like always a hum from something on the roof. But it's also a very inspiring place. It has these really big windows and gets great sunlight, and kind of architecturally is a little inspiring just because of all the space in there. So yeah, it's a really cool space.
Yeah, and it looks like a place you can go in and be there for hours and create some real magic. Do you tend to collaborate with your studio mates, or are you kind of each to your own?
I've never really collaborated with anybody, and I'm ready to.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, me and Bob don't collaborate a lot. We do have an electronic project called Nature Program. Sorry, Bob, it's official now. That someday might get unearthed. But no, we're just great studio mates. We dance around each other's time really well, and we don't play a lot of music together, but I mean, I have a lot of respect for him. I think we have respect for each other.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal.
So you're a producer and artist. Do you produce any other bands or any kind of other records in Burlington?
I produced for a friend of mine last spring, and that was sort of the first time I've ever produced anybody, and it was really fun. And I'd like to get her music out there pretty soon.
Yeah, and you say your inspiration is electronic and indie, experimental music. Honestly, the first time I heard you, I was like, this is if Coldplay was like actually interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
Was the way that I kind of thought about it. How much kind of like, being a producer, being in these collaborative spaces, you said we had a bit of a talk beforehand regarding your music video, and you said Tom Pero was kind of there on your in your music video. How much does kind of like the local music and local sounds influence the music that you create?
Really, I'm just inspired by a lot of my friends that just do so much. Like case in point, right behind you.
Luke's behind me right now.
But I'm just, like I have a lot of friends in town that are just creating all the time, and learning how to take the pressure off, which can lead to just nothing coming out. And just, it sounds crazy, but just have fun.
Yeah.
with it a little more. And that's my biggest inspiration from local musicians around me. But sonically, yeah, just I have a lot of like some of my favorite artists are like James Blake, Sylvan Esso, but also Nick Drake. I think I kind of have this like acoustic Nick Drake side that I love. I'm still trying to navigate my place because I have this like acoustic side, and then you'll see like this synthesizer side, and Washed Out's also another huge favorite artist of mine, and seemingly people that just sort of have this like singular vision, and they kind of create these like otherworldly sounds, scapes, but not like in a cheesy way.
I think Sylvanessa is a great name to drop on that one. One, because they are coming in like 2 or 3 weeks to Burlington. I'll be seeing them for I think the 5th time
Me too.
now.
I'll see you there.
Yeah, I love them so much. I definitely feel like if I met them 10 years ago, I would have been best friends with them. I don't know about now. They seem to have been they've transcended to another planet at this point. But
I actually met them 10 years ago.
Oh, you did?
Outside of one of their shows. They won't remember if they'll never hear this, but if they did, it would sound really creepy. But definitely felt like I could have been friends with them. They're like the coolest.
They just seem the nicest people.
Just you can edit that now.
Yeah, we'll get Bob on that one. I'm gonna send that clip straight to them. Actually. But yeah, definitely kind of the artists that you listen to, and you can't really place them anywhere because you said they got that singular vision, which makes them just so unique. In terms of your own music and your own styles, you said you got the acoustic, but then you got these synthesizers, and you kind of make a point that you're using vintage synthesizers. These aren't things you can just commonly buy in a music store these days, or if you did, probably set you back a fair wedge. Why is it important to you to kind of have this analog sound?
Well, I mean, I'm not against using modern keyboards, but for whatever reason, just the past little 10, 15 years, I started to break apart my favorite artists and why I love them so much. And a lot of times it was these unsung heroes in the background, which were these synthesizers that weren't necessarily doing these like really heavy leads, but just these atmospheres. And whether that was like Radiohead, et cetera, Sylvan Esso, and I'd kind of look up what they had, and then I would randomly look up what's on Craigslist within, like a 100-mile radius, and would often find these older people that had these things in their attic that they were just kind of like selling, and they were not as expensive as if you bought them in a shop. So I could never really not buy them when I knew it was such a good deal. I'd be like, oh, I'm saving this much even though I'm spending to get it. But that's sort of how the collection kind of came about.
Fleeced a bunch of older people for
No,
very
I almost
expensive
didn't
synths.
Actually, I offered one person more money after we did the deal because I felt bad and I knew how much it was worth. Just for the record, if that person's listening.
I'll be honest with you, I'm
a terrible businessman.
Morally speaking, I think it's absolutely fine to pay what someone asks for, especially if they're going to have a new lease on life and not just gather dust in someone's attic at the end of the day.
But with that said, there's something really magical about analog gear, and every time you play them, it's different. And this thing is always weirding out, but it's almost like it's alive in its own way, and I just think they're the coolest.
Yeah, it makes it slightly more like a traditional instrument, like the guitar in your hands.
I agree.
That is a living instrument. It's not just going to play the same note every time because you're going to have to take good care of it, and because it's got all these components and parts that need TLC, unlike a lot of the digital equipment that we use these days. Just going back to this record. So it's taken you a couple of years to create, but I want to know what point are we at now, and when we're going to be able to actually hear the whole thing.
So it's been this process where even though I had learned a bunch of things over the years, it was like, okay, I'm going to learn how to record now. And I had friends tell me where to put what mics to get a piano to sound good and a guitar to sound good. And so there was a few months of recording. And then kind of shaping the songs was another few months, and then recording vocals was another couple months, just waiting for this inspirational day where you're really feeling something inspiring. And then I started learning how to mix, and that's been pretty trying, and I understand why people go to school, and I probably should. And I would say that I'm done, and I'm really proud that I've done it all by myself, pretty much. But I've been having trouble with this certain sound in the vocals that I'm not satisfied with. And I finally, after months of toiling, going a little crazy, I've decided to really export that one thing to a super professional, to really sit down and get them where I'd like them to be or redo them, because they're really, really important to me. And I'm not afraid of it, even though it sounds crazy. And but so I thought I was done. And then I went to listen to the track list laying down. I had it on iTunes for the first time ever, all 9 songs in a row, ready to go, best that they were at. Within 30 seconds, I just, it was very dramatic. I ripped off my headphones and I was like, why can't I do this? And I said, because you can't, and you need help. And it was a very humbling moment.
That's the artist struggle. Would you call yourself a perfectionist?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a long time in the make. You got to make sure it sounds right.
That's it. I have people say, oh, it's been so long, just do it. I'm like, no, it's been so long, I want to do it. Or,
Right,
like that.
right. You want to make it sound right. You want to pull your headphones off 30 seconds into a song. I mean,
Yeah, I want to keep them on.
at the end of the day, if anyone is going to be able to listen to this record, it's you. I feel like you've put your blood, sweat, and tears into this. So until it's right by you, keep going.
But I'm pretty close.
You're pretty close.
Pretty close.
Any kind of ETA, or are we just going to keep that blank?
I'd like to put singles out this winter and then have a release in the spring. And it'd be really cool to have a band to do some bigger sets by then.
Yeah.
So took a little pressure off myself, finish it when I'm ready, keep releasing them slowly.
Yeah, I like that. Is it going to be other music videos accompanying it, or did you just decide that one for Gemstones?
Me and Ian already shot one for Open the Door, which is what I'm going to do on the Prophet synthesizer. And that is rad. I don't know if I should leak what it was, because it was like the coolest thing.
Oh, maybe give us a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we ran into a friend of mine, and I were swimming, what do you call it? I'm nervous. Ice dipping.
Are you one of these people who go down
I just
to the
last
lake
year
at the-
started. I just last year
The
started.
Red Hot Chili Dippers? Is that the group?
Yeah, so me and my friend Maggie were sitting there, and we saw these ladies coming down the water with these neon wigs on. And then they got in the water, and there was white snow, and then neon wigs floating in the water. And she goes, that'd be a cool music video. And I said, that would be a cool music video, especially in juxtaposition to like a cool kind of flumy synth song.
I'm thinking like Sigur Rós,
Yeah.
actually, the Hopper Pillar.
So
music
Ian
video.
helped me video that too. And he got in the water. He had his, things that
Yeah.
go up here, and
The Gators.
exactly.
Did you go in the water yourself? Did you take a dip?
He had the camera.
Okay. Those guys are crazy. My old boss is one of the Red Hot Chili Dippers, and
Oh, no way.
every winter I see her face pop up on my Facebook feed, hitting the ice with a hatchet and getting in before jetting off to work.
I know. I
and-
feel lucky. I think it's gonna be. We still actually haven't finished the footage, like editing it, and I actually haven't really even seen it. But it's because again, I work really slow, and I just do the other things. But I think that's gonna be really cool, and seemingly actually good time, because I didn't plan on it, but it'll be coming out when it's snow.
Yeah, there we go. It'll be perfect. Well, that's about all we got time for. But is there anything other than the record, hopefully be coming out in spring? Is there anything you'd like to promote, or anywhere that you'd like to direct people to if they've liked what they heard this evening?
Well, I guess I'd like to start doing more shows like this. So you can go follow me on Instagram to stay updated with things. That's Jabedon Music, Jabedon Music. No one ever gets it when I say it, but just look into it. And yeah, just more shows and more releases and some other cool, maybe little videos I'm going to be doing in my studio with some cool lights. That's kind of my thing. It's like lights.
Do you have any shows coming up?
This is it so far.
It's one and only. Well, I'd love to see you live in a setting at some point. I think the old lamp shop would have been perfect for this kind of.
There's still some cool places around town.
Yeah, there's still some good places. Yeah, so what have you got to play us out with?
So this song, I think, is going to be the next single, which is fitting, and it's called "Open the Door," and it's about taking that step to enter into that new thing in your life, even if it's scary. So it's sort of meta. It's like happening as we're doing it.
Yeah, very self-referential.
understand. Lead me on, feel this land. Take your time, hear the call. Take my hand, lead me there. You took your time to find it out, and now you're here. Hey, you took your time, and now you're here. You took your time, and now it all seems so clear. In your heart, in your hand. Mark my words, understand. The time is now for you to take a step and open up the door. You're full of doubt and sour taste. You see the red, now who's to blame? Just flip it now, there's work to do. A golden thread is pulling you out from underneath of all the fear and fright. Hey, look around, 'cause it's your move. Red or blue, you know it's always been up to you. A golden cup is in your hands. Buried stones emerge again. The time is now for you to take a step and open up the door. Tell me what you want from me. I'll tell you where to walk tonight. Show me what we're up against. I'll tell you what I wanna know now. Tell me what you need from me. I'll take you by your word tonight. Show me what we're dreaming of as you're traveling on this light. See me, open up, take my hand. Low light, luminous on the land. Lean in on the words left alone. Breathe in to the sound, it's from your home.
Jabedon playing us out there with Open the Door. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Not at all. And yeah, please come back in when that record is finished. We'd love to have you back.
It's going to happen. I'd love to.
Wonderful. Well, that's about all we got time for this evening. Join us next week when we're going to have jam band Lazybird come in. Pretty big band from around these parts, so I've been told. But for now, that's all we've got time for. So this has been 105.9 The Radiator. It's been The Rocket Shop. I've been your host, Tom Proctor, and good night. Very good, man.